IIT. Welcome to Alaska. I'm your president, Ray Ballard, here to give you some updates on what student government has been doing over the summer. First off, the Galvin Library. Student government has been aiming to make it a 24-hour academic hub for all students. It's been led by Karen Nelson, one of our vice presidents, and our Senator, Linda Goldstein. Things are going really well. There's only a few roadblocks to making this actually happen. One of those being to work on cutting some lab hours in other places, as well as security issues. Students would be able to have 24-hour access to the library, as well as being able to check out all of the computers from the Night Owl Lab. All those resources would be moved over to the Galvin Library, and that would be a really successful story for student government. In the spring, student government passed a resolution that went to the Dean of Students. It asked the Dean of Students to consider a provision in the student handbook regarding illegal substance or alcohol use. Basically, if a student is under the influence of alcohol and is a minor, or using an illegal substance, and they're with a friend who probably needs to get medical attention, that student can call 911, residence life, public safety, or whoever necessary, without the fear of being penalized by IIT. That said, it still leaves the Dean of Students with the right to investigate if necessary, if something criminal was done. However, this is great news because it means that IIT is promoting student health and safety over criminal action. We realize that students make bad choices, but we should be utmost concerned with their safety. We'd like to thank the Dean of Students office for really helping us get this put into the student handbook. In terms of intramural sports, Senators Kaleo Padrina and Juan Martinez have been working with me on the intramural sports committee. It also looks into club sport teams as well as athletic classes for students. This is something the President has promised that we will work together on as we try and make these activities more accessible to students. We have yet to hear, though, on what the progress is from this committee since school got out. And Kaleo, Padrina, and Juan Martinez are looking into what exactly the report was that was given to the President. In terms of the General Assembly is something that used to exist amongst the student body before the Senate was created in student government. It's my job as President to bring the General Assembly back to IIT. What is the General Assembly? Well, it's a forum for students to have immediate access to administrators, staff, or just to learn about topics at IIT. It's a forum for student input. In bringing this back to IIT, it's my job to try and figure out what's the best way to do that for students. And I've got the help of Senators Earl Farrell and Juan Martinez to help me in bringing this back. One thing that we'll definitely be doing is having the Provost and President give another open forum to the student body. And I'm really glad to have their positive commitment to do at least one of these forums per semester. They've been extremely helpful in the past, and I look forward to working with them over the next year. Graduate students. Student government represents over 3,000 graduate students. Yet right now, we really aren't representing any of them at all. We don't understand what their needs are. We don't understand what problems they have. And so I'm going to be trying to meet with Ali Sinar, the Vice President and Dean of the Graduate College, to understand exactly how we can best get in contact with our graduate students and represent them. Professor evaluations. You all remember the change in professor evaluations that happened at the end of last semester. There are only 2 questions: rate the professor, rate the course, and open comments. Well, as it turns out, that was an extremely successful move that student government pushed for, and that we had complete agreement with the President, the Provost, Vice Provost Gaz in doing so. As a result, the evaluations went from 20-something% of completions to 60-something%. They're now statistically relevant for professor evaluations. It's a great accomplishment, and we're really glad to have had the help of our administration, as well as Senator John Wang and others in the Academic Affairs Committee that really helped put that together. We're not done, though. We still want to see, those results published. Students agree that they'd like to be able to see those results so they can best evaluate their classes and professors for the next semester. Another thing that we'd like to see that would really help our professors is some sort of midterm review. Nothing serious, nothing published, but something that says, how is the speed of this class? What could the professor do better? Somewhere around the 7th or 8th week of school that the professor could use to evaluate his class and make sure that everyone's on target. We're going to be pushing for that this next semester. Public safety. Most things have been great on campus. We really appreciate public safety keeping the campus safe this summer. There was one small incident that I've been talking to the provost about. and we're still trying to figure out how student government should best try and deal with it. And we'll tell you more soon. Academic dishonesty. One thing student government noticed was that the student handbook and faculty handbook actually have different policies for how best to deal with academic dishonesty, cheating. Well, from what I understand from the provost, those two things are now the same, and we're glad to hear that. The Student Government Association is also holding a constitutional review. Unfortunately, some of the documents that were updated in our Constitution have gone missing. And so it's going to be our job over the next couple months to try and determine what exactly needs to be changed in our Constitution so that we are in full in order. That includes updating from the previous presidential election in which we had some concerns that weren't included in the Constitution. Communication. Oh, it's a buzzword that everybody loves. One thing that I ran on, the word communication, can mean a lot of different things. With student government, that means that we need to be getting out to students, helping inform them of what's happening at IIT, and being able to have you communicate with us directly. That means that Vice President Sri Kota and I are working to, one, redo our website so that it's informative, includes press releases, videos, Facebook and Twitter updates, as well as allows for you to blog on our site about problems that you're having. Be able to say whether or not you agree with what another student says on the blog. Another thing that we're trying to do is work with Tech News to develop a more stable reporting system for the press releases that we issue. I'd really like to thank Senators Chris Roberts, Linda Goldstein, Vice President Sri Kota, and our contracted alum Joe Kaiser for helping us with the new communication efforts. The Student Life Steering Committee, something new that we're working on with the Dean of Students Office and led by Senator Brian Kibbe and other senators, is to develop a strategic plan for the university that will aim to improve the quality of student life in all areas on campus through feasible ideas as well as blue sky opportunities. It aims to mimic the President's strategic plan, but give more detail as to how over 1, 2, 10 years we can best improve the quality of student life on our campus. Finance Board, something that almost every student organization has to work with in order to get funds. Well, improvements are being made, as promised by Finance Board Chair Laulu Adiola and the other members of Finance Board. They're working on improving the process for student orgs to propose for money, including revamping their website, student org advising, and other such ideas. In terms of Greek issues, Senator Hashem Amara will be working with me to, one, contact every Greek house at least once a month and go around to either their meetings, lunch, or dinners to talk about things that are happening in student government as well as receive their feedback on current issues at IIT. But he's also going to be helping me to determine how to best get Greeks involved in the General Assembly. Two weeks ago when I came to Chicago, I was able to meet with several different groups to talk about student government issues. One of those was the People of Alumni Relations. I was able to meet with Jason Smith, Sarah Zimmerman, Justine Gentes, Cameron Watkins, and Mandy Work as we discussed three things: the possibility of a class gift at IIT and donating back to our university for possibly a scholarship, working with the Me Society to better educate students about our campus architecture, and how to better connect outgoing students with our alumni population. In terms of internal SGA issues, we have several things that we're working on. Vice President Sri Kota, Executive Vice President Mike Kruger, and the Office of Student Life are working on different issues, some of them being finding an advisor for our student government, working on our SGA retreat and workshop in September, as well as developing Google Groups for our executive board and senators so they can better communicate on issues in between meetings. By doing so, we'll be able to rapidly improve our process for passing resolutions. And finally, student government will be searching for several positions in the fall. And if you're interested in getting involved with student government, please contact us at sga@iit.edu. We'll have our website up sometime in August, and we hope that you'll be able to come visit us there. Until then, I'm Ray Ballard, your president, signing off. Good night, IIT.